The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. All eyes turned to Zekthor as he walked to the center platform. His forelegs moved slowly across the smooth floor. The insectoid officer carried a data crystal in his smaller arm. He could feel the weight of what he was about to share. Around him sat representatives from 200 species. Some had scales, others had fur or feathers. A few were made of energy itself. But today they all shared the same concern. They were afraid. Zekthor placed the crystal into the projection device. A hologram appeared above them. It showed a small blue and green planet. Earth, he said, his voice translator making clicking sounds. A primitive world in the outer regions. They have not even left their own star system yet. They fight among themselves. They have no unified government. By all our calculations, they should be easy to conquer. He paused and looked around the hall. 7 species have tried. 7 fleets have gone to Earth, none have returned. Whispers filled the hall. Council members shifted in their seats. A large reptilian delegate stood up. Perhaps they were weak, the reptilian said. The Korth Empire sent only a small force. Same with the Velix Union. Small fleets mean small losses. Zekthor changed the hologram. Numbers appeared in the air. The first fleet had 50 ships. The second had 120. The third had 300. Each fleet was stronger than the one before. The last fleet, sent by the Dravok Collective, had 800 warships. That fleet could have destroyed most planets in our council. He let that sink in. They all vanished without a trace. The reptilian delegate sat down slowly. A floating sphere of light spoke next. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. What about distress signals? Surely someone tried to send a warning. Nothing, Zekthor replied. No distress calls. No escape pods. No debris fields in space. Complete silence. Every single fleet jumped into the Earth system and never came back. It is as if they never existed. A small furry creature raised one paw. Could there be a guardian species? Perhaps Earth is protected by someone we do not know about. Zekthor shook his head. Our long-range scans show no other advanced technology in that region. Earth is alone. Their most powerful weapons are primitive nuclear devices. They barely have basic space stations. According to every model we have, they should not be able to defend against even one of our patrol ships. The hall filled with noise. Everyone talked at once. Some delegates were angry. Others were scared. A few looked curious. The council leader, a tall being made of living crystal, raised one hand. The hall became quiet. We must understand what happens in that system. We cannot ignore this pattern. If Earth has some weapon or defense we do not understand, we need to know about it. From the back of the hall, a deep voice boomed. The Krahok's Empire will solve this mystery. All heads turned. General Krathvor stepped forward. He was massive, covered in thick armor plates. His species was known for their military strength. They had conquered 12 worlds in the last decade alone. 7 fleets failed because they were not Krahoks. He said with pride, "We will take 1,000 ships. We will bring our best warriors, and we will bring back answers." The council leader looked at Zekthor. "What do you think, intelligence officer?" Zekthor was silent for a moment. His compound eyes looked at the data again. Something did not feel right. But he had no proof. No evidence. Only a feeling that they were missing something important. "I think we should be careful. But if the Krahok's Empire wishes to investigate, I cannot stop them." General Krathvor laughed. "Careful is for the weak. The Krahoks do not fear primitive species. We will show this council what happened to those 7 fleets, and then we will claim Earth for the Empire." The council leader nodded slowly. "Very well. The Krahok's Empire has permission to investigate Earth, but you must send regular reports, and you must follow first contact protocols." Krathvor waved one armored hand. Of course. We will follow all the rules." But Zekthor saw the look in the general's eyes. The Krahoks had no plans to follow any protocols. They wanted conquest. They wanted glory. After the meeting ended, Zekthor returned to his quarters. He could not shake the feeling of dread. 7 fleets had disappeared. What made the Krahoks think they would be different? He pulled up his personal console and sent a coded message to a contact in the intelligence network. The message was simple but dangerous. He was requesting permission to place hidden monitoring drones on several Krahok ships. If the council found out, he could lose his position. But he needed to know what happened to those fleets. 2 days later, he received approval. It came from the council leader herself. She was worried too. Zekthor worked through the night. He modified 6 small drones to hide in the Krahok ships. They would record everything and send the data back through quantum channels. Even if the ships were destroyed, the information would survive. 3 weeks passed. The Krahok's fleet gathered at the edge of Council space, 1,000 warships, enough firepower to level a continent. General Krathvor stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the stars ahead. Zekthor watched from a distance as his drones attached themselves to 6 different ships. No one noticed. The Krahoks were too confident, too sure of their victory. The fleet activated their jump drives. Space bent around them. In a flash of light, they were gone. Zekthor sat in his quarters and waited. His screens showed the drone feeds. The Krahok's fleet was traveling through jump space. They would reach Earth in 3 hours. He thought about the humans. What were they like? Were they warriors? Did they have some secret weapon? Or was there something else? Something nobody had considered. The timer counted down. 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Then the screens flickered. The Krahok's fleet had arrived in the Earth system. Zekthor leaned forward, his compound eyes focused on every detail. On the bridge of the flagship, General Krathvor stood tall. All ships, battle formation. Charge weapons. Prepare the surrender demand. The communications officer worked at his station. General, we are detecting thousands of transmissions from the planet, but they are not directed at us. Krathvor frowned. What do you mean? The humans are transmitting to each other. Hundreds of different frequencies. Many different languages. They seem to be arguing. The general laughed. They do not even have a unified command. This will be easier than I thought. Send the demand. Tell them to surrender immediately. The message was sent. It broadcast across all human frequencies. A simple demand for total surrender. And in that moment, everything changed. Across Earth, humans stopped arguing with each other. Governments paused their debates. Militaries put aside their differences. For the first time in their history, humans had a common enemy. General Krathvor did not understand the response he received. It was not a surrender. It was not even a formal military communication. It was hundreds of different voices all saying the same thing in their own way. No. The human response confused General Krathvor. He had expected fear or immediate submission. Instead, his communications officer looked more puzzled with each passing minute. General, we are receiving thousands of responses, but none of them are official government communications. We have civilians, military units, corporations, even individual citizens responding to us. Krathvor walked to the communication station and looked at the screen. Messages scrolled past in hundreds of human languages. His computer translated them automatically. One message said, "Come and try it." Another said, "You picked the wrong planet." A third simply showed a middle finger gesture. His database informed him it was an insult. "Where are their leaders?" the general demanded. "Every species has leaders. Someone who speaks for the whole planet." The officer shook his head. "They have nearly 200 different governments. All of them are responding, but they are not agreeing on what to say. Some want to negotiate. Others want to fight. Many are still arguing with each other." Krathvor could not believe what he was hearing. A divided world should be easy to conquer. You simply play one side against the other. But something felt wrong. "Show me their military installations," he ordered. The tactical display lit up with hundreds of red dots across the planet. Military bases, missile silos, naval fleets, air force stations. All of them were powering up weapon systems. "They are preparing to fight," the tactical officer reported. "But General, their coordination is strange. They are not following standard military doctrine. Each nation is responding independently, but they are all targeting us." Then something unexpected happened. On the screen, Krathvor watched as former enemies started sharing information. Nations that had been at war with each other days before were now exchanging military data and tactical plans. "Interesting," Krathvor said. "They unite against an outside threat. Still, they are primitive. We will give them one more chance to surrender, and then we will show them the power of the Krahok's empire." He ordered his communications officer to broadcast another message. This time, it was not a demand. It was a warning. The Krahok's fleet would destroy one satellite as a demonstration of their power. A beam weapon fired from one of the warships. In space, A human communications satellite exploded into a cloud of metal fragments. Krathvor expected panic. He expected the humans to see their helplessness and give up. Instead, the human response got angrier. "General," the communications officer said, his voice uncertain, "that satellite belonged to a private corporation, not a government. The humans are very upset about this. Many of them are calling us thieves and vandals." "Thieves?" Krathvor was confused. "We are a military fleet. We do not steal." They seem to take personal property very seriously. The company that owned the satellite has already filed a lawsuit against us in 17 different human legal systems. For a moment, Krathvor just stared at his officer. A lawsuit? They were being invaded by 1,000 warships and humans were worried about legal paperwork? "Enough of this nonsense," he said. "Move the fleet into low orbit. Prepare to demonstrate our power against a military target. That will show them we are serious." The Krahawk's fleet moved closer to Earth. As they did, something strange happened. Humans launched missiles. Hundreds of them. From land bases, from ships, from submarines hidden under the ocean. The missiles were primitive by Krahawk's standards, basic chemical rockets with nuclear warheads. The fleet's defense systems activated automatically. Energy shields absorbed the explosions. Point defense lasers destroyed most missiles before they even got close. Not a single Krahawk's ship took damage, but Krathvor noticed something odd. The missiles kept coming, and each wave was slightly different. The humans were changing their tactics with every attack. "They are learning," his tactical officer said. The first wave was direct. The second wave used decoys. The third wave split up and attacked from multiple angles. "They are wasting their weapons," Krathvor replied. "Our shields can handle this forever." But deep down, something bothered him. No species had ever adapted this fast. Most civilizations had fixed military strategies. They trained for decades on specific tactics. Humans seemed to be making up new strategies every few minutes. Then the real attack began. It started with computer networks. Krahawk's systems started reporting errors. Small ones at first. A sensor would glitch. A communication channel would have static. Navigation data would show tiny errors. "We are under cyber attack," the systems officer reported. "The humans have infiltrated our networks." "Impossible," Krathvor said. "Our encryption is military grade. It would take centuries to break." "They are not breaking it, General. They are tricking it. The attacks are coming from everywhere. Some are sophisticated. Others are crude but effective. They are throwing everything at us to see what works." Krathvor ordered his fleet to isolate their computer systems. No more connection to Earth, only internal ship networks. The cyber attack stopped. But now the humans tried something else. They began flooding all communication channels with noise. Music, advertisements, television shows, internet memes, random data. The Krahawk's fleet could barely communicate with each other through the chaos. "Filter it out," Krathvor ordered. They did. But then the humans changed tactics again. They started broadcasting fake military signals, false coordinates, fake distress calls, decoy targeting data. The Krahawk's fleet was not taking damage, but they were starting to feel frustrated. These humans fought in ways that made no sense. They did not follow rules. They did not have honor. They just kept throwing different attacks one after another. "General," the tactical officer called out. "Multiple human aircraft approaching. They appear to be fighters." On the screen, Krathvor saw dozens of primitive jet fighters rising from Earth. They were slow compared to Krahawk's ships. Their weapons were simple projectiles and missiles. "Deal with them," he ordered. The Krahawk's point defense systems locked on. Energy beams lanced out. The first wave of fighters exploded. But more came, and more, and more. "How many fighters do they have?" Krathvor demanded. "Unknown, General. Our estimate is at least 50,000 across the planet, and they keep launching more. 50,000. The Krahawk's fleet could destroy them all, but it would take time, and ammunition. And while they were busy with fighters, what else would the humans try?" Then something hit one of his ships. Not a missile, not a fighter, a piece of metal. Just a chunk of space debris traveling at high speed. Minor damage to Ship 447, the tactical officer reported. Shields held, no casualties. Another impact, then another. The humans were using mass drivers to launch metal projectiles into orbit. Simple, crude, but moving fast enough to threaten ships if they hit the right spot. This is insane, Krathvor said. They are throwing everything they have at us, no strategy, no coordination, just chaos. General, a new voice spoke. It was the science officer. I think that is their strategy. They are testing our defenses. Every attack gives them data. Every response shows them our capabilities. They are learning faster than any species I have ever studied. Krathvor looked at the tactical display. The battle had been going on for 3 hours. His fleet had taken minimal damage. They had destroyed hundreds of human aircraft and thousands of missiles. By any normal measure, the Krahawks were winning, but the humans were not stopping. They were not retreating. And with each passing hour, their attacks got more creative. Far away, Zekthor watched through his hidden drones. He saw everything, and what he saw made his blood run cold. The humans were not trying to win, not yet. They were learning. Every attack was an experiment. Every loss was a lesson, and humans learned very, very fast. 3 days passed since the Krahawks fleet arrived at Earth. General Krathvor had expected to be accepting Earth's surrender by now. Instead, he was still fighting. His fleet had destroyed over 2,000 human aircraft. They had shot down 30,000 missiles. They had disabled dozens of military bases. But the humans kept fighting. What bothered Krathvor most was how the humans fought. They did not act like any military force he had ever faced. There was no central command, no grand strategy, just millions of humans doing whatever they could to cause problems. Some attacks were military, fighter jets and missiles. Others were civilian. Hackers crashed ship computers. Radio operators jammed communications. Even ordinary citizens found ways to interfere. But the worst part was how fast they adapted. On day 1, human missiles could not penetrate Krahawk's shields. By day 2, they learned to overwhelm specific sections of the shields with concentrated fire. By day 3, they were coordinating attacks from multiple directions to exploit shield weaknesses. They are reverse engineering our technology, the science officer explained. Every time we destroy one of their craft, they analyze the wreckage. They study our weapons. They learn our tactics. Primitives cannot learn that fast, Krathvor insisted. These ones can. General, I have analyzed their biology. Humans are persistence hunters. On their planet, they would chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. They never give up. And their brains are wired to solve problems under pressure. Krathvor did not want to hear it. He ordered the fleet to take more aggressive action. They would strike military targets on the surface. Show the humans the cost of continued resistance. The first orbital strike hit a military base in North America. The beam weapon carved a crater a mile wide. Thousands of humans died. Krathvor expected the humans to be horrified, to surrender. Instead, something else happened. The humans got angry. Within an hour, every human nation that had been neutral declared war on the Krahawks. Countries that had been enemies for centuries formed alliances. Weapons that humans had been saving for wars with each other were now aimed at the sky. The orbital bombardment continued. But each attack seemed to strengthen human resolve rather than break it. They are not rational, Krathvor said. They should see they cannot win. His tactical officer had a different opinion. General, I do not think they care about winning. I think they only care about not losing. There is a difference. That night, something happened that changed everything. A small human spacecraft approached the Krahawks fleet. It was barely more than a metal can with rocket engines. Inside were 3 humans in spacesuits. The ship transmitted a simple message. We want to talk. Krathvor was suspicious, but he was also curious. He ordered the ship brought aboard his flagship. The humans were searched for weapons. They had none. The 3 humans stood in the conference room. 2 men and 1 woman. They looked tired, but not afraid. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, the woman said through a translation device. We represent the Human Defense Coalition. We want to discuss terms. Surrender terms? Krathvor asked. No, we want to make you an offer. Krathvor was intrigued despite himself. What offer? Dr. Chen smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Leave now. Go back to your council. Tell them humans are not to be invaded. Do this and we will let you live." For a moment there was silence. Then Krathvor laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound. "You will let me live? Human, I have 1,000 warships. You have primitive rockets and nuclear weapons. I could reduce your planet to ash." "You could," Dr. Chen agreed. "But you would still lose." "How?" One of the men spoke up. "Because we do not need to win. We just need to make you fail. Your council sent you here for answers. If you destroy Earth, you will have no answers. Just a dead planet and the shame of losing an entire fleet to primitives." "I have lost nothing," Krathvor said. "Not yet," Dr. Chen said. "But you will. We have studied your fleet. We know your shield frequencies now. We know your weapon ranges. We know how many missiles it takes to overwhelm your point defenses. And we are mass-producing everything we need." She pulled out a data pad and showed him numbers. Production rates, weapon yields, tactical analysis. "In 2 weeks we will have enough weapons to seriously damage your fleet. In a month we can destroy it. And if you destroy our planet, we have already sent out ships with all the data we have collected. Other human colonies will know how to fight you, how to beat you." Krathvor studied the numbers. He called his science officer to verify them. The officer looked at the data and nodded slowly. "They are not lying, General. These calculations are accurate. The humans have weapons factories working around the clock. They are producing ammunition faster than we can destroy it." Krathvor felt something he had not felt in years. Doubt. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Why not just attack?" Dr. Chen's expression softened slightly. "Because we do not want to kill you. We just want you to leave. This war is expensive. People are dying. If you go now, everyone lives. The council will call me a coward. The council will call you smart. You survived where 7 other fleets did not. That is victory enough." Krathvor dismissed the humans. He needed time to think. But while he thought, the humans acted. That same night, 3 Krahak ships reported system failures. Then 5 more, then 10. The humans had planted something in his fleet during that meeting. Some kind of computer virus. The ships were not destroyed. Their life support still worked. Weapons were offline, but not permanently. It was a message. "We could have killed you. We chose not to." Krathvor called his senior officers together. 7 fleets came here. None returned. Now I understand why. The humans do not fight to win. They fight to make invasion too costly. They adapt faster than any species I have seen, and they never ever give up. He looked at his tactical display. His fleet was still powerful. But the humans were right. In a few weeks, this would become a real fight. And there was no honor in destroying a planet just to avoid admitting failure. "Prepare the fleet to jump," he ordered. "We are leaving." "But General, the Council wanted answers." "I have them. Humans are not prey. They are predators, and this predator is too dangerous to hunt." The Krahak's fleet began preparations to leave, but some ships did not respond. The human virus had spread further than expected. 20 ships were dead in space, not destroyed but disabled, and then human fighters appeared. Not attacking, just watching, making sure the Krahak's fleet left. "General," the communications officer said, "the humans are offering to repair our damaged ships. They say they will return our crews safely if we promise to leave." Krathvor could not believe it. The humans had won. They had crippled his fleet. And now they were offering help? "Accept their offer," he said quietly. Over the next 3 days, human engineers boarded the disabled ships. They fixed the systems. They returned the crews, and they sent the ships home with one message. "Tell the galaxy. Humans want peace. But if you bring war, we will teach you why that is a mistake." The Krahak's fleet jumped away. They had lost pride, but they had survived. That was more than the 7 fleets before them could say. In his hidden location, Zekthor reviewed all the drone data. He had recorded everything, and now he understood. Humans were not strong. They were not technologically advanced. But they were adaptable, persistent, and they fought with a creativity that no other species could match. That made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Galactic Council chamber was more crowded than Zekthor had ever seen it. Word of the Krahak's fleet's return had spread fast. Everyone wanted to hear what had happened. General Krathvor stood before the council. He looked different now, less proud, more cautious. His armor had scorch marks from the battle. "I am alive," he began. "My fleet survived. But we did not conquer Earth, we could not. Silence filled the hall. No one spoke. They waited for the explanation. Krathvor told them everything. The strange way humans fought, their rapid adaptation, their refusal to surrender even when facing impossible odds. They are not like any species we know, he said. They do not follow our rules. They do not think like we do. Every attack teaches them. Every battle makes them stronger. The reptilian delegate who had spoken before stood up. You had 1,000 ships. How could primitives defeat you? They did not defeat us, Krathvor corrected. They made victory meaningless. Yes, we could have destroyed their planet, but they would have made us pay such a high price that the council would have called me a failure anyway. The council leader raised one crystalline hand. Intelligence Officer Zekthor, you placed monitoring devices on the Krahawk's fleet. Show us what you recorded. Zekthor walked to the center. He activated his data crystal. Holograms filled the air above them. Everyone watched in silence as the recordings played. They saw the first human attacks. Primitive but persistent. They saw how quickly humans learned and adapted. They saw the cyber attacks, the mass driver projectiles, the swarms of fighters that never stopped coming. But most importantly, they saw the pattern. Zekthor showed them data from all 7 previous invasions. He had pieced it together from old records and his drone footage. The first fleet, 50 years ago, had arrived when humans barely had satellites. They had energy weapons. The fleet was destroyed by nuclear missiles modified with captured alien technology. The second fleet arrived 10 years later. Humans now had better space stations. The fleet brought shields. Humans learned to hack their computer systems and turn their own weapons against them. Each invasion taught humans something new. Each attacking species gave them technology they did not have before. They are scavengers, Zekthor explained, but not in a weak way. Humans take what works and make it better. They learn from every enemy. After 50 years of invasions, they have technology from 7 different species, all adapted to their needs. He showed them something that made several council members gasp. Human ships, crude vessels built from salvaged alien parts. They did not match any known design. They were hybrids, combinations of different technologies that should not work together but somehow did. This is what happened to the 7 fleets, Zekthor said. Humans did not just destroy them. They captured ships. They studied them. They took prisoners and learned from them. Some prisoners were returned home carrying warnings. Others chose to stay and help humans understand the technology. Chose to stay? The floating sphere of light sounded shocked. Why would anyone help primitives? Zekthor showed them footage of human prison camps. But they were not like any prison camp the council knew. The aliens were held in comfortable conditions. They were given good food, medical care. Some were even paid to teach humans about their technology. Humans treat prisoners well, Zekthor explained. Better than most species treat their own soldiers. Several captured aliens have said they prefer living with humans to returning home. This caused an uproar in the council chamber. It challenged everything they thought they knew about primitive species. Zekthor waited for silence, then continued. There is something else you need to understand about humans. They hunt not just for food. They hunt for sport, for challenge, for survival. Their entire evolution was shaped by persistence hunting. He explained what this meant. On Earth, humans were not the fastest or strongest predators, but they could run for hours, days even. They would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. This made them different from most intelligent species. Most of us evolved as prey, Zekthor said. We learned to hide, to run, to build defenses. Humans evolved as hunters. They learned to chase, to track, to never give up. This is why they are dangerous. He showed them something truly frightening, long-range sensor data. In the weeks since the Krahawk's fleet left Earth, humans had launched dozens of probe ships, small vessels designed to map jump routes, to explore nearby star systems, to find the paths the attacking fleets had used. They are learning how to reach us, Zekthor said quietly. Every fleet that attacks them gives them more navigation data, more jump coordinates. Soon humans will know how to find council space. The hall erupted in panic. Some delegates demanded immediate action. A massive fleet to destroy Earth before humans became too dangerous. Others wanted to hide, to remove all records of the invasion attempts. The council leader stood. Her crystalline form glowed brighter, demanding silence. We have 3 choices, she said. We can attack Earth with overwhelming force. We can ignore them and hope they do not find us. Or we can do something no one has tried yet. What? Several council members asked. We can try to talk to them. As equals. This suggestion was met with resistance. How could primitives be equals? They had no unified government, no advanced technology of their own. They were dangerous, yes, but not civilized. Zekthor spoke up again. I think talking is our only option. If we attack with enough force to destroy Earth, we will need thousands of ships, tens of thousands, and humans will fight every step of the way. They will make it so costly that our own citizens will question the war. But if we ignore them, they will eventually reach Council space, and when they do, we will not be ready. They will have learned from 8 different invasion attempts. They will be more advanced than we can imagine. The only smart choice is to meet them as friends before they become enemies. The debate went on for hours. Some species wanted war. Others wanted isolation. But slowly, a majority began to agree with Zekthor. The council leader made the final decision. We will send a diplomatic mission. Not a military fleet. A small ship. A delegation. We will offer humans membership in the Galactic Council. And if they refuse, someone asked, then we will deal with that when it happens. But we will not attack first. Not again. Zekthor was chosen to lead the delegation. He accepted even though he was afraid. He had studied humans for months now. He knew they were dangerous. But he also knew they were rational. They had offered to spare the Krahak's fleet. They treated prisoners well. Maybe, just maybe, they could be reasoned with. The council gave him 1 ship, not a warship, a diplomatic vessel. It would carry a small crew, gifts, and most importantly, an apology. We must admit we were wrong, the council leader told him privately. 8 times we sent fleets to conquer them. 8 times we failed. If we cannot admit this mistake, we cannot move forward. Zekthor prepared for the journey. He studied human languages, human culture, human history. What he learned both fascinated and terrified him. Humans had been at war with themselves for their entire recorded history. But between wars, they created art, music, literature, philosophy. They were capable of both terrible violence and incredible beauty. The more he learned, the more he understood. Humans were not monsters. They were survivors. And survival had made them into something unique. His ship was ready. The delegation was selected. 3 diplomats from different species, all chosen for their ability to stay calm under pressure. Before they left, General Krathfor came to see Zekthor. Good luck, the general said. If anyone can make peace with humans, it is you. What will you do now? Zekthor asked. Krathfor smiled sadly. I will tell other military leaders what I learned. That there are some species you should not fight. Not because they are stronger, but because they will never stop fighting back. The diplomatic ship launched. It would reach Earth in 2 weeks. 2 weeks for Zekthor to prepare the most important speech of his life. He had to convince humans that the galaxy wanted peace. After 8 invasion attempts, that would not be easy. But he had one advantage. Humans were curious. They wanted to explore, to learn, to meet other species. Maybe that curiosity would be enough. Maybe humans would give the galaxy one more chance. Zekthor could only hope. The diplomatic ship entered the Earth system slowly. Very slowly. Zekthor did not want to trigger any defensive systems. He broadcast their peaceful intentions on every frequency humans used. Within minutes, they received a response. Human military forces had detected them. Fighter patrols surrounded the ship. But they did not attack. They just watched. This is Zekthor of the Galactic Council, he broadcast. We come in peace. We wish to speak with your leaders about a diplomatic arrangement. There was a long pause. Then a human voice responded. This is Admiral Zhang of the Human Defense Coalition. You understand we are skeptical. The last 8 times aliens came to our system, they tried to conquer us. I understand, Zekthor said, and we apologize. Those invasions were mistakes. We did not understand who you were. We do now. Another pause. Then Admiral Zhang spoke again. You may dock at the International Space Station. A delegation will meet you there. But Ambassador Zekthor, bring no weapons. And know that if this is a trick, it will be the last mistake your species makes. Zekthor heard the threat clearly, but he also heard something else. The human had called him ambassador. That meant they were willing to talk. The diplomatic ship docked at the human space station. Zekthor and his team went through thorough security checks. The humans were careful, professional. They treated the aliens with respect but also caution. Finally, Zekthor was led to a conference room. Inside, 12 humans waited. They represented different nations and organizations. All of them looked tired. The recent battles had taken their toll. Dr. Sarah Chen was there. She recognized Zekthor from his broadcasts. "Thank you for seeing us," Zekthor began. "I know you have every reason to be suspicious." "Yes, we do," Dr. Chen said. 8 invasions in 50 years. Thousands dead. Trillions spent on defense. So why should we listen to you now? Zekthor had prepared for this. He activated a holographic display. It showed everything. The council meetings. The debates. The fear that had driven the invasions. "We were afraid," he said simply. "We saw a species that was different from us. Aggressive. Divided. We thought you were dangerous. So we tried to eliminate the threat before it grew." "You were right about one thing," Admiral Zhang said. "We are dangerous. You learned that the hard way." "Yes. But we also learned something else. You do not want conquest. You want to be left alone. Every invasion fleet that offered to leave peacefully was allowed to go. You could have destroyed them all. You chose not to." The humans looked at each other. One of them, a younger man in a military uniform, spoke up. "We are not monsters. We fight when we have to. But we prefer peace." "We always have." Zekthor nodded. "We understand that now. The Galactic Council has sent me to make you an offer. We want to invite humanity to join the Council as a member species." The room fell silent. No one had expected this. "You want us to join?" Dr. Chen asked carefully. "After trying to conquer us 8 times, now you want us as allies?" "Yes, because we finally understand what you are. You are not primitives. You are survivors. You adapt faster than any species we have ever encountered. You take technology from enemies and make it better. You never give up. These are valuable traits." He changed the hologram. It now showed threats the galaxy faced. Pirate fleets, rogue AI systems, unexplored regions of space with unknown dangers. The galaxy needs species like yours. We have become comfortable. We follow rules. We avoid risk. But sometimes the universe requires adaptability, creativity, the willingness to try new solutions. Humans have all of these qualities. The human delegation discussed this among themselves. They spoke in several languages. Zekthor's translator worked hard to keep up. Finally, Dr. Chen spoke for the group. "We have conditions." "Name them," Zekthor said. "First, all prisoners from previous invasions must be returned home if they wish to go. Those who want to stay on Earth may do so." Agreed. "Second, Earth remains independent. We will cooperate with the Council, but we govern ourselves. That is standard for all Council members. Third, we want full access to Council technology. No restrictions, no secrets." This was harder. Some Council technology was protected, but Zekthor thought about it. Humans had already stolen or reverse-engineered technology from 8 different species. They would figure it out eventually anyway. "I will recommend this to the Council, but you must agree to share your own innovations in return." Dr. Chen smiled. "Deal. I think you will find human creativity quite valuable." They talked for hours. Details were worked out. Treaties were drafted. By the end, both sides were exhausted but satisfied. As Zekthor prepared to leave, a young human approached him. She looked about 10 years old. Her mother, one of the delegates, had brought her to the station. "Mr. Zekthor?" the child asked.
"Can I ask you something?"
"Of course. Why did you attack us 8 times before you said hello?" "That seems weird." Zekthor looked at the child. Her question was simple but cut to the heart of the matter. Adults complicated things with politics and strategy. Children saw the truth. "You are right," he said. "It was weird. And stupid. We were afraid of what we did not understand, so we attacked first and asked questions later." "That is what bullies do," the child said matter-of-factly. "Yes, it is. And we are sorry." The child nodded, satisfied with this answer. She skipped away to rejoin her mother. Dr. Chen had watched the exchange. She walked over to Zekthor. "Children are honest," she said. "Adults learn to hide the truth behind fancy words. But she is right. Your council was a bully." "I know," Zekthor said. "That is why we are trying to change. Humans have taught us a valuable lesson. Strength is not just about weapons and technology. It is about knowing when to fight and when to make friends. You learn fast," Dr. Chen observed. "Not as fast as humans, but we try." The diplomatic mission returned to Council space with good news. Humans had agreed to join the Galactic Council. They would start as provisional members. In 5 years, if both sides were satisfied, the membership would become permanent. The Council chamber received the news with mixed reactions. Some were pleased. Others were worried. But everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy had changed. Over the following months, human diplomats arrived at Council stations. Human scientists exchanged information with alien researchers. Human merchants began trading with other species. And the Council discovered something remarkable. Humans brought innovation everywhere they went. They looked at old problems with fresh eyes. They combined technologies in ways no one had thought of before. They asked questions that challenged assumptions. One human innovation became famous across the galaxy. A mathematician named Dr. James Wong solved a physics problem that had stumped alien scientists for centuries. The solution was elegant and simple. When asked how he did it, Dr. Wong said he just approached it differently. That became the human reputation. They approached everything differently. 5 years passed. The provisional period ended. The Galactic Council held a vote. Should humanity become permanent members? The vote was unanimous. Yes. At the ceremony, Zekthor stood beside Dr. Chen. They had become friends over the years. She was now Earth's chief ambassador to the Council. We did it, she said. From enemies to allies in 5 years. Humans did the hard part, Zekthor replied. You forgave us. That takes more strength than winning battles. Dr. Chen smiled. We are practical. Holding grudges is expensive. Making friends is profitable. The council leader addressed the assembly. Her crystalline form glowed with pride. Today we welcome humanity as full members of the Galactic Council. They bring strength, innovation, and wisdom earned through hardship. We are better for having them among us. The hall erupted in applause. Representatives from 200 species cheered. Dr. Chen stepped forward to give the human response. She spoke clearly and confidently. Thank you for this honor. Humans are explorers and dreamers. We have always looked to the stars and wondered what was out there. Now we know. We are not alone, and that is the greatest gift we could receive. She paused, then added with a slight smile. But if anyone else tries to invade Earth, we are still ready to defend ourselves. Just so we are clear, the hall erupted in laughter. Even the most warlike species appreciated human directness. Later that night, Zekthor sat in his quarters reviewing his notes. He was writing a report on the human integration process. It would be required reading for all council diplomats. He thought about everything that had happened. 8 invasion attempts, thousands of lives lost, billions spent on weapons and defenses, all because the council had been afraid of something different. But now, 5 years later, humans were valued members of galactic society. They contributed ideas. They solved problems. They brought energy and enthusiasm to everything they did. The galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating humans again. But more importantly, they learned a bigger lesson. Sometimes the species you fear the most can become your greatest ally. You just have to be willing to talk instead of fight. Zekthor saved his report and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there on a small blue and green planet, humans were looking up at those same stars. They were no longer alone, and neither was the galaxy. Everything had changed because someone finally asked the right question. Not how do we defeat them, but how do we talk to them? Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one.